The United Nations Security Council met to discuss the war in Gaza and the hostages held by Hamas. Now, ahead of this meeting, Gideon Saar, who is the Israeli foreign minister, told reporters that Israel had called for the meeting focused on the hostages after Hamas released videos over the weekend showing two of the hostages in an extremely emaciated state. Israel believes that there are still about 20 living hostages in Gaza, as well as the bodies of 30 others. Israeli Prime Minister said that Israel must complete the defeat of Hamas to secure the release of the remaining hostages. He met senior security officials to finalize a new strategy for the nearly 2-year war, with media reporting he favors a complete military takeover of the Strip.
North Carolina, so
Carolina and California?
It would be direct. In other words,
Donald Trump declined to say whether he supported or opposed the move of his ally and said his administration's focus was on increasing food access to the Palestinian enclave.
As you know, $60 million was given by the United States fairly recently to supply food, and a lot of food, frankly, for the people of Gaza that are obviously not doing too well with the food. And I know Israel's going to help us with that in terms of distribution and also money. We also have the Arab states are going to help us with that in terms of the money and possibly distribution. So that's what I'm focused on. As far as the rest of it, I really can't say. That's going to be pretty much up to Israel. Yeah.
UN agencies continue to warn of insufficient amounts of humanitarian aid allowed into Gaza as global monitors say famine is unfolding in the enclave.
And I hope you understand that the magnitude, that the difference between this very small amount of aid that has now come in, and everybody expect me to clap and say thank you, and the massive needs that are there, where people are literally dying on a daily basis.
Truck drivers trying to deliver aid inside Gaza say their work has become increasingly dangerous in the recent months as people have grown desperately hungry and violent gangs filled a power vacuum left by the terrorists, by the territory's Hamas rulers. And the local driver said that crowds of hungry people routinely rip aid off the backs of moving trucks. The Gazans complain they have nothing to eat and nothing to drink.
I ran when I saw the aircraft due to the lack of food. I ran to get food for my children. I have injured children lying on their backs, and I have no flour, no food, nothing to drink. The situation is tragic. This food which I managed to get will feed the children without bread. Life is very hard in the Gaza Strip.
A number of Palestinians were injured by an Israeli strike as they waited for aid in Gaza on Tuesday. The injured were taken to Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, with the video showing people bleeding and lying on the floor of the overcrowded hospital. And this wasn't an incident in isolation. There were 3 such incidents in the past 24 hours. 56 people lost their lives in total. 68 people were killed by Israeli gunfire and airstrikes. And there is more on this from our correspondent Susan, who sends us this report.
At Israel's request, the United Nations Security Council met in New York on Tuesday to spotlight the plight of hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza, the Israeli foreign minister taking part. The session was prompted by videos released over the weekend showing 2 Israeli captives in harrowing conditions. The Israeli foreign minister thanked both the United States and Panama for seconding his request for this urgent session and emphasized that the hostages must remain front and center on the world stage. Meanwhile, Israel projected the video of David, one of the hostages, on a giant screen in Times Square to amplify international attention. In response to mounting pressure, meanwhile, Israel has allowed aid trucks back into Gaza. The UN has warned that nearly 90% of aid trucks have recently been looted before reaching their destination. and only about 36 to 95 trucks entered on the most recent days, far short of the estimated 600 per day threshold needed to prevent famine. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.